Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters from anime, series or movies such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86 and today from Demon Slayer and S.H.Figuarts I present to you Shinobu, the Insect Hashira. Looking at the front of the box, you can basically see the whole figure along with a cutout of the Shinobu figure. On the back side, you have the figure doing different poses. You see the content overall as well as the different expressions. So I'm really excited that they came out with this figure, and if you have been keeping up with my channel, you will see that a while ago we did the BUZZmod version of Shinobu. So we will do a 1-to-1 comparison and we will see which figure was done better between BUZZmod and S.H.Figuarts. So let's go check them out. Shinobu is packaged in one blister pack, so here you can see the content of the figure. She comes with 4 sets of hand gestures. You can see the different expressions, and she also has the nurturing sword with and without the sheath. So one thing to note compared to the BUZZmod one that came with accessories and a special effect part, this one doesn't come with anything, so it's basically plain. Here's the 360 of Shinobu, the Insect Hashira. One thing to note, and we'll get into the details a lot further, is I have a feeling this S.H.Figuarts figure of Shinobu is a little bit taller than the one from BUZZmod. The details, they're very soft. They're not strong details compared to the ones that I remember from the BUZZmod figure. Especially like in the chest area. It's not fully defined, it's somewhat hidden, if you know what I mean. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. In case you're keeping track of these particular videos, this is the 3rd video of our Halloween special series. So who other than Shinobu? I picked Shinobu for this particular one because that's what Demon Slayer is all about. Not only because of the Infinity Castle movie that came out, and overall, my opinion on that movie, it was really good. And I know I've seen in the comments people are complaining that it was a lot of back history, especially into Akaza, but in case you didn't know, that is kind of the title of the movie. It's called Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, Akaza's Return. So at some point they had to focus on Akaza. Don't forget to follow me on IG at Titan del 86. I see that S.H.Figuarts basically captured her details very well. You can see the highlights on her hair bangs with the dark purple. And you can even see the butterfly knots that are tied behind her feet as well. Now let's check out the articulation points that come with Shinobu. So she got some really good head movement and neck movement as well. You get a good rotation. This is as high as she can see, and this is as low, which is a little bit limited. This is as high as her arms can go, and as you can see, what helps it is because she's got that double joint feature on the shoulder. Here you can see the different segments that make it up. Hopefully the camera can capture it, but here you can see the mechanism of it. You can see the ball joint here as it connects to the main one. So this is just more of a cover to help cover the joint and help keep the illusion of the Haori. So this is as close center as the arms can go. A limiting factor is the side piece of the Haori that goes here. This is as far back as it goes. That butterfly piece does not rotate. Here's your 360 of the arm. So I'm basically getting the 360 out of the piece that goes here. I'm not really able to pull it out of the main joint that is attached to the actual body. There's your elbow. So similar to the S.H.Figuarts Tanjiro, you can see that she's got movement within the sleeve. So her forearm has a different type of joint that it comes right off from the elbow. 360 of the wrist and then up and down from it. A little bit difficult to get because I'm not able to directly grab her by the forearm. She's got a little bit of chest movement there. It's a little bit more noticeable when she's bending down versus bending her on her backside. The haori is attached into 3 sections as you see here, and if you look at it, this is how you can flex it. So you can flex it this way, and you also get 360 from side to side from each one. And it's made out of soft rubber along with this, so that allows it for easy flexing. The rest of it is a stiffer plastic. She's got good waist movement. This as far up as the leg goes. This as far back as her leg goes. She's got thigh rotation. She's got 2 movements. So this is the first movement by the knee, but then she also has a secondary one. So this is the secondary one. It's not a whole lot compared to the first one, but when you combine them, it gives you this one. So this as far as the knee goes. 360 off the ankle, down and up. Get inboard, outboard, and then there's the toes. So overall, she's got some really good rotational points as far as articulating points go. One thing that I would like to have seen better would have been more movement in the chest area by the waist. I think the figure's a little bit stiff there, and because of how the haori is shaped, I think that the 2 cut points that you see here between the top level and the low level, I think that's going to interfere when we try to do those really dynamic poses of showing her in action scenes. Other than that, the articulating points seem like the regular ones that we see on regular S.H.Figuarts. One thing I would like to have seen more would have been a lot better movement out of the shoulders, especially based on the other figures that we're starting to see now coming out of S.H.Figuarts. And there you have it. Here's a close-up overview of the different expressions that come with Shinobu. The first one shows a happy smile with the eyes closed. The second one looks like an action expression. You can see the intensity in her eyebrows. And I really like how they did the eyes as well. They're really captivating. The third one is another happy expression, but on this one her eyes are open. So this is more of her neutral expression since she was always smiling, but in reality we know that she was always angry. So this is basically the expression that she really wanted to have all the time. So this is the angry expression of Shinobu, which also shows her grunting. And again, I really like how they did the expression here, especially the intensity of how they did the eyes. So this is a really good expression in my opinion. And if you watch the Infinity Castle movie, you really got to see her doing this type of expression a lot. Just a reference to the movie. So overall, I really like the array of expressions that we got with Shinobu. I think on this one versus the BUZZmod one, I think this one came with a better range. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts. And then also, hopefully you can see the details of her nurturing sword. And if you remember, her sword is basically halfway cut from the blade. So technically, in theory, she couldn't decapitate a demon. And that is because of her small stature and her strength. For this scene, I have Shinobu striking from the air. On this one, I gave her the neutral expression that shows the smile. And I also included the special effect parts of the butterflies from the BUZZmod figure. One thing to note, Shinobu was a really fast Hashira. Usually within instance, she would strike her opponents, using her nurturing sword, also known as the Stinger, where she didn't rely on strength, she relied mostly on using different types of poisons, which she was able to store in her sheath. So by rotating it and using special mechanisms within her special sheath, she was able to manipulate what type of poison she wanted to use against her opponents. And then she would charge at them with intense speed, giving the demon very little time to react to it. One thing that I'm noticing, all these Demon Slayer S.H.Figuarts figures, one of the key things that they're really lacking is accessories. They all come with the nurturing swords, but you're not getting any action effect parts, which is something that BUZZmod always gave us. For example, Tomioka came with water effect parts, Tanjiro and Rengoku came with flame effect parts. Even Akaza had some nice accessories to go with them. But so far, all the versions that we have from S.H.Figuarts, I feel like they're giving us basically the very minimum to get by. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts there. Even taking this one for example, its BUZZmod counterpart came with the butterfly effect part that you see here, but yet the S.H.Figuarts one didn't. Hopefully by now you have seen the movie Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, The Return of Akaza. In case you haven't, spoiler alert, but in this one I have Shinobu as she was going up against Doma, which was Upper Moon 2. In this one I gave her the action grunting expression to capture the intensity of the scene. One thing that I really like about the S.H.Figuarts, in this one in particular, is the emotion that they capture of Shinobu. In this one, when you compare it to the scene against Doma, you can see the anger and rage that she felt towards him. And that is actually due to Doma being the one that killed her older sister, Kane. And that is in the scene when they first meet within the movie that you can just see the intensity and the emotions flow through. One thing to note, so far the figures from S.H.Figuarts and regarding this Demon Slayer line, they've been pretty well so far in their articulation points, but I feel like on this Shinobu figure, it really looks like they cut corners when you compare it to the other ones. In the other S.H.Figuarts, for example, the Tanjiro one, and definitely the Tomioka one, we had the Haori in the forearm section where it could freely spin 360. Here, it is not the case, and that is because the way that Shinobu's arms are, they're a little bit more on the oval side versus the round side. So the section of the forearm of the Haori does not rotate like the ones that we saw from the Tanjiro S.H.Figuarts as well as the Tomioka. In case you haven't seen those videos, I suggest you go check them out. They're really good ones, especially since I do one-to-one comparisons between the S.H.Figuarts variants versus the BUZZmod counterparts.
Insect breathing, dance of the dragonfly.
For this scene, I have Shinobu with the intense, angry expression where she appears to be talking. And you could actually use this expression as an action one as well. So for me, for this particular scene, this is when she was angrily talking to Doma about her different concoctions regarding the poison. They basically had a very forced conversation where Doma was very excited to try all of Shinobu's different poisons, but Shinobu was basically just trying to find the right one to kill him. So that is what this particular scene captures, is Shinobu using her sword and sheath to switch the poison. And she also realized that the demons did share information, especially over the encounter of Rui. In case you haven't seen my video of Rui, I suggest you go check them out. That is one character that I really want to have a articulating figure of, but I just haven't seen it. I was hoping BUZZmod would do one, but recently I haven't seen anything coming out of them. And as for S.H.Figuarts, I guess that is now where I'm waiting for them to start doing. They seem to be really focused on Tanjiro's friends and the Hashiras, where they haven't really done any demons other than Akasa, where on BUZZmod they only did Akasa and Daki. The other thing that I see is Shinobu is also limited by the different risks that come with her. She does have 4 sets, but there isn't really much you can do with them. I know S.H.Figuarts on some of their figures, they give you an array of different hand gestures, but it seems that they're really tight and compact on the Demon Slayer line. They're very limited to almost, I want to say, the essentials.
My thrusts alone may not be enough. But what of this?
Here's a one-to-one comparison between the BUZZmod Shinobu versus the S.H.Figuarts one. As you can see, the BUZZmod version is slightly shorter than the S.H.Figuarts one. The other thing to notice is the BUZZmod one looks a little bit chubbier than the S.H.Figuarts one. But one thing that I like about the BUZZmod over S.H.Figuarts version is that Shinobu has more definition. If you notice, the BUZZmod version of Shinobu has a bigger chest than the one from S.H.Figuarts. The other thing to notice is the Nichiren swords. The BUZZmod version to me looks a lot better than the one from S.H.Figuarts, and I think that's attributed to the paint job. If you notice the S.H.Figuarts version, the paint job looks really dull versus the one from BUZZmod, where that one has more of a metallic paint job, so it makes it look a little bit more realer if it was an actual sword. Another key difference is in the face. If you notice the BUZZmod one, the face is a little bit more square. The S.H.Figuarts one, that is slightly more of a rectangle. And here you can really see the difference between the fabric Haori versus the one from S.H.Figuarts, which is made up of both soft and hard plastics. But one of the things that I did mention is how I like the Haori, and that still stands true up to this date, on how the fabric is a lot softer than the other fabrics that we've seen on other figures. The other thing is also how it reflects the light, how it's got that nice glow to it, which looks really nice, and especially in person it looks a lot better. The only downfall that I noticed looking at this figure is that the fabric, it's already staining, which is really weird. These figures, once I'm done with them in the videos, I leave them in a particular pose, then I put them on the shelf, and after that they just sit there. So that is one very huge negative thing of the BUZZmod figure as far as how it aged over time. For your reference, I'm not putting these figures in any special airtight cases or anything. This is just from the figure sitting out in plain space. So that is just a quick advisory update on the BUZZmod figure. It is very strange that the staining is only happening on the seams of the Haori. The two sleeve pieces don't have anything. That area looks really nice and clean. It's only on the perimeter of the seams of the centerpiece Haori. So I wonder if it's a chemical or a glue or something that is now showing its age and it's starting to change colors. If you have this figure in your collection, let me know if the Haori is doing the same thing for you. If you notice it, it's all by the seams where the metal wire is, and also to where they sew in the sleeves. It makes it look as if Shinobu's been running laps and has been exercising and hasn't been washing her Haori. The other thing to note, you can really see a huge difference in the butterfly hair accessory, where the colors are slightly different and even the pattern. If you notice, the S.H.Figuarts version is a little bit more on the long side, where again it goes to the shape of the head, where Shinobu from BUZZmod, the head, you can kind of put a square on it, but Shinobu from S.H.Figuarts, you can pretty much put a rectangle to it. So that kind of follows the head shape as well as the butterfly pattern, where the wings are more longer. And the other thing to note, and this is the biggest difference again, is between the two Haoris, which is really what separates the two figures. You're looking at a fabric Haori versus one that is cut up into different sections to get articulation points, but at the end it's made out of plastic. And obviously it does have an effect on the figure, because in this one, because the Haori doesn't fully flex to where the location of the arms are, sometimes it throws the overall image off, and it also makes Shinobu look a little bit wider than what she really is. Where the S.H.Figuarts one, that illusion is not there, giving her an even further perspective of being slimmer. But overall in general, you can see how the effects of the Haori plays a huge impact on how the figure is displayed. In this one, you have both figures trying to do the same pose as close as possible, even the matching facial expressions, but you can see that in capturing my intention was a lot better on the BUZZmod version, and that is because of the flexibility of the Haori in relatives to the elbow movement than the S.H.Figuarts when it comes to the elbow. And that is all because of how they did the Haori, which kind of becomes a restrictive point on the articulation. I feel like the BUZZmod versions are sculpted a lot better than the S.H.Figuarts ones, and it basically lines up to the same thing I said if you saw my video of S.H.Figuarts Akasa. In that video I did a comparison between the Akasa one and the BUZZmod version, and one thing that really keeps coming on, and same thing with the S.H.Figuarts Rengoku versus the BUZZmod one, is the sculpturing. But there are a couple modifications within S.H.Figuarts that makes them look a lot better. So when I lean towards the BUZZmod ones, they're a little bit more closer in competition. That makes me lean more towards the BUZZmod ones. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. In all honesty, it's a little bit difficult to tell which one's the better figure, because some of BUZZmod's plus sides are the negative sides to the S.H.Figuarts one, and vice versa, especially when you look at execution, sculpture, coloring, and representation, as well as accessories that come with the figure. And then the other key factor is the durability. So one of the things in the BUZZmod category that it does really well is the sculpture of the figure. The coloring is really good. I like that they used the fabric Haori, but in this one it's also the negative side as far as the durability goes, because the figure sitting there unbothered, the Haori started to become stained. Where switching over to the S.H.Figuarts one, on that one the articulating points are expected to be top notch, but on this one it feels like the figure was really rushed, where the execution was a lot worse compared to the other BUZZmod figures that we've seen, giving the points more towards the BUZZmod one. So that is why I'm a little bit torn between both figures. Plus the other thing, on the S.H.Figuarts one, you're not really getting accessories with the figure. You do get a lot of expressions, which are really good ones. I think execution wise they're about the same, honestly. There are some sections where I see that S.H.Figuarts basically fumbled where they shouldn't have, but to me I really like the sculpture of how they did the BUZZmod one, so that's why I still want to lean towards the BUZZmod one. Plus you get the cool butterfly effect part. As far as the Haori, I'm gonna see if there are ways to overcome it. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts. And even on that one, BUZZmod gave you 2 nurturing swords, where S.H.Figuarts only gave us one. And if you take a closer look, you notice that Shinobu's sword is not fully filled into the blade. It's got a segment that is cut within the blade. So in theory, the sword is a little bit more brittle than the other ones. Follow me on IG at Titandel86. But don't get me wrong, both figures are really good to have. So it's almost up to a hand toss, and also if price is a big factor because the BUZZmod one is a lot more expensive than the S.H.Figuarts one. So again, if also budget is also in the category, the S.H.Figuarts one is also the better choice there. But if you're after sculpture and details and accessories, then BUZZmod is the way to go. It all depends on what you're looking at the figure along with your budget. For this scene, I have Shinobu being silly. This is the happy expression that comes with the eyes closed. So this goes back to the scene where she poisoned the spider demon, and as she was talking, making her speech and all that, she forgot that the demon was already dead. And in case you forgot, this is our Halloween special run, so who other than Shinobu, keeping up with the Halloween theme. And obviously the other thing is she really cosplays the butterfly thing to the max. As you can see, her Haori captures the style of the butterfly's wings, even to the veins. So here you have Shinobu rocking the butterfly theme hardcore. Plus she's also slaying demons too, so there's a horror factor there too. So out of all the Demon Slayer figures that we've seen so far in this channel, I really want to say this one is the worst one out of all of them. Just because the Tanjiro one really got us there with a lot of high expectations of what the capabilities were. And that one was a really good figure, honestly. But this one, you're kind of seeing the opposite side. And honestly, I feel like on this one, S.H.Figuarts basically became a little bit lazy on their techniques here. Like this figure was really rushed by Bandai just to get her out there. And this is why the figure suffers in that category. The only good strong point that she does have is those facial expressions, which are really good. Let me know in the comments with your thoughts. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new one. Thank you and bye.
Oh, pardon me. I guess you can't hear me if you're dead. Silly me.